Great. Welcome everybody to the WiSys Pallet Management webinar for our September 2024 webinar. We wanted to take a deeper dive into our pallet management layer of WiSys. This is something that's brought up many times by customers, prospects, as well as partners too, understanding better what pallet management is in WiSys and kind of how we're different than other WMSs, different solutions to allow you to do pallet management. So let's go through a quick slideshow and then we'll get into some demoing of the product, and then we will take some questions and answers. So as you guys mostly know, some of you that are new here, we do have 550 customers today using WiSys. We've been doing this for 20 years, and we have many of those customers that are very active in pallet management. And what those and what we like to say, or what we do, is our pallet management is a unique module to WiSys. So we're going to talk today about what are pallets, how do we add velocity to your workflow, really kind of digging deeper into the pallet management layer and what that really means, and that's the key here. We're going to show you the software. We're going to go through a bunch of general pallet forms that we utilize, and we'll be able to take some questions and answers at the end and go deeper if necessary. And this is going to be a good starter overview for those of you who are getting into that. Let me make sure that this is minimized here. Okay. All right. So what does pallet management really mean? And the confusing part, or the place that most of customers, prospects, or partners get confused, is it doesn't necessarily mean a traditional pallet as you see it here, right, on the screen with this container. What our pallet management really means is it's our packaging layer to WiSys, where we're allowed to wrap like items, similar items, different items into a single license plate for movements around the warehouse. We can use that in stocking, overstocking, replenishment, and obviously shipping out pallets and creating the required labeling necessary for those. So as we think of pallets, a lot of people will think of the standard pallets and building those with product on there, but it also means our carton levels, container levels, inner packs, anything that we want to create a unique storage level or a unique carton package level, we can create with our pallet management. So, I know it's called pallet management, but really if we refer to it as packaging, you'll understand that what we're going to do is we're going to group items into a single license plate SSCC code, UCC 128, and we're going to be able to manage that all the way up to containers. I have customers that even use rail cars as well as a package, and they store all the items in there. We can create these unique packages within WiSys. So this is unique to WiSys. We add the tables to the SAP Business One database to create a unique process for WiSys, which also includes our fulfillment manager. But I just really like everybody to know, listen, it's not just a pallet. This also means other types of package sizes as well. What pallets do, right, to create velocity is really what we want to create. In this case, standard WMS with WiSys will help you organize product, items, shipments, orders, do those inventory movements throughout the warehouse. What pallets can do is make that quicker. We're going to create package layers of products wrapped around a license plate to include things like serialized and batch information. We all know how difficult it is to add serialization and batches and to track those natively in SAP. What we're going to do is we're going to add that information as we create these packages or these pallets, and then we're only going to have to scan the serial or the main pallet ID or the pallet serial license plate to get that information and move those items quickly in our warehouse. Obviously for things like storage, overstock, things like that. So, you're going to quickly record movements with a single scan. So that's as easy as I can tell. We're going to group items and we can do those items. Again, they don't have to be all the same item, but I'm going to show you a few different ways to do same items, dissimilar items, creating pallets for those items in WiSys. And we're going to actually see those with our desktop application. So the type of things we're going to go over today, we're going to build pallets right off the bat. We're going to give those pallets license plates. We're going to stock, overstock, and put those pallets away in a bin warehouse. We're also going to take a look at building pallets from production. So from production to receipt, creating pallets of finished good products. And then we're going to pick pallets for shipments, and we're going to relieve some inventory using our fulfillment. We're going to move some pallets, and I'm going to give you real visibility into what's on pallets and how that works in WiSys. And we can do pallet letdown splits and create. We're going to show you some pallet labels that we're going to create as well. But at the end here, obviously the use is containers. So we have all the way up to container usage for this. Now, traditional other WMSs, they're disjointed. They may offer pallet management layer or a pallet management solution for you. Most of those use a location as a pallet, where WiSys is going to actually group the items in a unit so that you can move those to different locations and know where things are located at any time. So it'll allow us to do inventory counting by pallets, obviously going to those bins and doing that thing. So we're going to go through a bunch of the pallet processes here. Fulfillment is also part of the enterprise edition of WiSys. So this directly relates to pallets, where we're going to be able to build large shipments with pallets, cartons on those shipments, and relieve that inventory through LTL truckload, UPS, FedEx, and also using our fulfillment process. So this is also basically tightly joined with pallets. This will allow us to create those shipments. And I'm going to do that on a handheld today. We're going to build a shipment for some pallets, and then we're going to relieve that inventory with delivery notes and populate that information back in SAP. And last but not least, we're going to utilize our desktop application. So this is a very large point of growth with WiSys. The desktop gives you that visibility into things like pallet and carton views, and allows us to see what's on pallets, batches, serial information as well. So we're going to take a look at that in unison as we do the transactions on the handheld devices, and we'll be able to get real visibility into where these pallets are located within your warehouse. So let's get to it. Let's take a look at some of this real quick. I'm going to close out the PowerPoint. And we're going to use the traditional handheld. And typically in one of these webinars, you've seen us do distribution. So we've received goods in from a PO, and we've organized that, and we've moved those items around. Today we're focusing on the pallet layer. So in WiSys, we do have a tab that specifically addresses pallets. And you'll get this with the Enterprise Edition of WiSys. And there's a lot of different functions that you see on the handheld today. So we're going to make some assumptions today, is that we received some goods in from a purchase order, and those are at my dock location. So today we're going to actually be creating bacon bits or packaging bacon bits for delivery very easily. We have some packages, and we're going to take that finished good of a bacon bit, and we're going to actually relieve that and complete a sales order with that. But I want to show you first the main functions of pallet management, and we can go there and create pallets, which we're going to do now. So I'm actually going to go to our application form called Pallet Builder. So just like WiSys and the distribution side, we're going to step through some processes here. We're going to be scanning items to put those items into inventory, right? So in this case, we're building a unique package layer, a new pallet, and we would just hit the enter key on our pallet builder solution here, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to say we have a new pallet. And the first thing you're going to see, it's going to drop down to, is what items we're going to put on this pallet. And I have a group of items sitting at my dock, and I have a item code that I'm going to use today, and that's the F013618P. And it validates that that's an active item in my warehouse. Now I can actually look up the bin or scan the bin. We're going to take it from the dock today because we received these, but I have a bunch of these sitting at the dock, right? So I'm going to scan the dock bin, and I'm going to scan the batch. This is where we're going to eliminate the need for additional batch scans later on, and also show you the visibility of batches, right? So this is very important for those of you that are batch tracked or lots or serialized items. We're going to achieve that by scanning in the batch currently here, typing it in, but I'm going to scan. And that batch is not available. So very easily, I have to go and select the batch here, which is 923. Yep, that's the batch that I should be scanning. And I can now put the desired amount or quantity on a pallet. So in this case, I know that 162 cases fit on this pallet. And very easily, when I hit the enter key or the trigger on the handheld device, it's going to create a unique pallet identification. This is an important number for us to remember. We're actually going to follow this along through the entire process. So I have a pallet now that's been created with items on it. Now I can simply use that pallet as is, that 10067. I can print a label for that pallet. So this pallet has a unique identifier that will pass along throughout the entire process here. And I've just printed that to screen today to show you the pallet label that I've created. Now, you may have GS1 barcoding with WiSys tools. You may have other things that you need on a label as well, item codes, things like that. That can all be realized with WiSys label design software. This is a very simple pallet identifier license plate that I have for this group of 162 items. I can, however, add additional items, different items to this pallet. And I'll show you that in a minute, but I can add multiple things. So imagine if you guys are creating kits, sales kits that you want to create, you can actually organize these pallets ahead of time with certain things that are standard orders for your customers, right? I could have some of one item on there and I can stack other items on there. It does not have to be the same item on a single pallet build form that we have, right? So remember this pallet number 1067. I can actually go into our pallet view and I would scan that 1067 in the pallet view, and it's actually going to show me when that was created today, what warehouse it's located, where's that bin location that I've created that pallet, the item or items on this pallet, and the quantity. With it being a batch tracked item, I have the availability to select the batch or serial number here to see all the batches that are located on this pallet. So you can have multiple batches on one single pallet, but we know in this case that we have one batch associated with this pallet. Great, right? I can see the pallet. I have created this pallet, and I can do very simply, if I close this out, I can do a pallet transfer. Let's close this out. Go back to our forms. So I could do a pallet transfer that will allow me to take the pallet 1067 by scanning that single license plate, and I can very easily move that to another bin in my warehouse, which I'm going to do. I'm going to take that to my staging bin. That product as a single scan with those batches and that information has been moved directly over to the staging bin in the warehouse. I am going to bring up our Agility desktop application. So a little background of what happens here is that in WiSys, under our options and packing and shipping, you will see that we have the availability to create different package sizes. And there are some standard package sizes that come with WiSys that we can utilize to create cartons, containers, and in the case that I just made, pallets, right? These package levels, or these packages that we create, you can create any package type that you want and also add package types within package types as well. This is all done in the setup of WiSys package types in the Agility Explorer desktop application. As we go into our Agility Explorer desktop, I'm actually going to go into my inventory palette view grid that will show all the package types that we've created, right? And I can look at all those packages, and I'm sorting by, filtering by the description, but here are all my packages within WiSys, and it'll tell me what are on those. So remember that package 1067 that I have, I can actually scan that in or type it in here, and I can see that I have that pallet, PLT is the package type, it has the create date, and it'll have my serial or batch information located on that with the quantities. So I get visibility into all my pallets, whether they're for stock, overstock locations, or for even shipping, that I can see those are located there. And today we're working with bacon bits, so I'm going to type in bacon bits and see all my pallets in my system that have bacon bits. And you'll see that down here at the bottom, that 1067 is located right down here that we saw. We built that single pallet of 162 cases of bacon bits. Really easy, right? We have the information in the serial batch, and this is just a regular stocking unit measure of pallets. Now I can create packaged within those pallets, so I could have cartons on that pallet and have unique identifiers on each carton. That would be additional work with WiSys to accomplish that, but that is many things that we do as well. So I've created, in this case, I have created a single pallet. I have moved that pallet or transferred that pallet around. Another unique application with WiSys in the pallet building process is I can build multiple pallets with a single form situation. So in this case, I can scan that item, that finished good item that's sitting at my dock. I can say scan the dock here, and I can scan or look up the batch, and I'm going to look up the batch today, but there could be multiple batches, and I'm going to put 162 on a pallet. In this form, in this case, what it's asking us is how many pallets we want to create. And I'm going to create 5 just for visibility. We're going to create 5 pallets of 162, and I'm going to print those pallet labels out, and these are a little bit different. This has my pallet unique license plate ID here for 5 pallets of 162 cases of bacon bits. So in a single process, I've created a scan that allows us to create 5 unique pallet identifiers in WiSys and allows us to create those pallets for us to use, whether it's for shipping, whether it's for stocking. But I'm going to refresh my pallet view grid, and you'll see that those 5 that I've created here from 168 to 172 are now in WiSys at the dock location. I can move these around very quickly now with a pallet transfer, but I'm going to keep these at the dock for now so that we can review that later. So let's take a look at some of the other options in the pallet module for you to take advantage of. So we have the availability, and we'll get to this in a minute, but we can do pallet inventory counting. So instead of, while utilizing the SAP inventory counting sheets, I can count my items with my inventory counting document. I could scan that, I could grab that here. I can count by pallet. So I'm counting the same item in production. I'm scanning the pallet 1067, and I could actually count those items and those batches with pallet inventory counting. So I can count each's units of measures in my inventory counting sheets, but with WiSys, I can also take advantage of counting pallets in our inventory count sheets here as well. Now you tell me, hey, I want to let this pallet is an overstock. I have it at a bin location, but I want to let down this pallet to pull the eaches, right? So we're going to take that pallet 1067, and it's going to identify the items on the pallet and the quantity, and I'm going to actually destroy this pallet layer. I'm going to take away the pallet number to relieve to the cases to be picked from. So when I want to do replenishment to a pick bin, I can simply do a pallet letdown I'm going to do a pallet letdown from the staging bin to my regular bin here. So what you'll notice here, and what we'll discover, is that if we refresh our grid here, that pallet 1067 is no longer in inventory. Now in SAP, the units of measure that you have in your item master are going to be the same that you're going to see. So you have to utilize WiSys to take advantage of this pallet layer functionality, right? This is not something that you'll realize in SAP, but you'll have availability to see the inventory levels by pallet within the WiSys Agility desktop here. So this is going to allow us to now, we have let down that pallet and we have exposed the picking units of measure for that pallet into that bin location. So that's what's considered a pallet letdown. That's going to drop the pallet ID and open that up available to picking eaches. Typically in overstock, this is where that is done. I can reprint pallet labels. One of the things I want to show you though is, which is pretty standard set forward, if I want to reprint a label, I can actually type in that number and it'll actually, I've deleted that one. If I scan the pallet label, it'll actually bring up the information on there and I can print a standard label very easily here. Again, so that's just a reprinting of a pallet label. If the label gets destroyed, removed, that type of thing, I can reprint it. One of the other things that people ask me about pallet management is this, can I split and take things off a pallet? We have a split pallet process here, and I'm going to do a pallet. we're going to actually remove some items from that pallet here. So 1068, the pallet that we're going to scan, I can remove that item. So let's scan the item. And then the batch, we're going to look up the batch today. I can take the batch and I can take up to 162 because I have 162 cases on that. I'm going to take 100 cases and I'm going to put it on a new pallet in Warehouse 05. And I'm going to scan the bin that I'm going to put that in. So basically what I've done is taken 100 off of a pallet. I can put them on another pallet or create a completely new pallet to do that as well. And I can save that here as well. So I would have a new pallet created from items from a single pallet, and I can also add things to that pallet. But making it easy to take things off, remove items, putting it on a new location, or putting that into a picking area as well. Now that pallet that I have here that we split, if I go to the pallet view of 1068, we can see that there are only 62 left on this pallet because I have moved 100 items off of this pallet to a new pallet. And I can see that in here as well, my Agility Explorer desktop. If I refresh this grid, I can see that I move things to a new pallet, and I have 100 on this pallet, and I have 62 on the original pallet. So I've split pallets there. Very standard applications, but what this is going to do is create velocity for you to work faster, more efficient in the warehouse, right? So let's go take a look at some more functionality of pallets. Let's go to my handheld. We are going to do some picking and packing of pallets. So in this case, we do have the availability to pick to a pallet, and we can pick list to pallets. But what I want to touch on next is production. A lot of you will create a finished good from production that's a pallet, and we can do pallet production from a goods receipt. So the normal process in WiSys, you probably have seen it many times. We issue product or raw goods to a production issue. We do a production receipt. We can do a production return, disassembly, but we want to produce to a pallet. So that production receipt will allow me to create pallets from finished goods that we have created in SAP's production module. It's the same way we're creating this good for shipping, by sales order, by customer, for stock, for overstock, things like that. So I can actually take a production order that we're working on here, and we're going to make these, right? And it tells me how many I need to make, 972. We're going to take them from the production bin, right? And we're going to look up the batch here. And we're going to take this batch, and we're going to put 162 on a pallet. In this case, I've just created a new pallet from a finished good, completing the production, creating the pallet of that finished good of 162 cases. And we can continue on with that same production order as well, right? So if I scan that production order again, I could do the same process throughout to complete the production, right? So I can create pallets from production. One of the unique items that is a big feature for my customers is production pallet sales order. So for a make to order shop, I can actually include the sales order of that production order with the production order and the sales order to achieve a completed good that is exclusively for that sales order and that customer. That's also another feature that is very popular with WiSys customers. We're grouping items. We're going to put them in a single unit license plate so that your batch information serial don't need to be scanned multiple times. As we do those movements, right, as we do the movements in pallets, you only have to scan the pallet ID, and that's going to take all the information in that with us. One of the things I want to go over is I want to go over order fulfillment, and that's where our fulfillment manager comes into this. So there's many different ways that our customers like to do this. They want to pack pallets or cartons on a handheld, which they can do. They can also create this on our Agility desktop, our fulfillment manager, which allows you to create complex shipments on a computer desktop screen. What I want to do today for you is I want to fulfill some orders with the handheld device. So I'm actually going to go into an order in SAP here. We're going to look at a sales order, and I have a couple of orders that require 6 pallets. And we're going to do an LTL truckload shipment today. We're not going to use UPS or Agility shipping, but understanding that with our packaging layer, as cartons, containers, interpacks, case quantities. You can create complex shipments with UPS and FedEx as well. But in this case, I have an order here, $13.98, and I can use a pick list. So I could create a pick list, creating the allocations for my goods here. In this case, I want to do 6 pallets, which would equate to 972 items. So we understand that 6 pallets would fulfill this order. Now I can remember this order $13.98, which I have a barcode scan and I have a sheet that allows me to do that. But I'm going to go to my handheld device here, and I'm going to create a new shipment using my pallet module here, and I'm going to use an application called Load Pallets. Now in this case, I am directly picking from a sales order. If I want to pick using an SAP pick list, I can pick to pallet here as well and create the pallets or pick the pallets I want to create a shipment. I'm going to do it straight from the SAP sales order here so we can make this efficient. But in this case, again, just like creating a pallet, I'm going to create a shipment. And a shipment creates a packaging layer around all the pallets to give it a full shipment for our fulfillment manager to use. And I'm going to scan the order here, $13.98, and I'm going to scan the item, and I'm going to tell it the pallet I want to go pick. So I'm going to pick 1069 here, right? So I've created now in this case a shipment. I have selected the order, I have selected the item, and I have grabbed a pallet of that item to put on our shipment, right? So our shipment here is now 245. So it's created a shipment that I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to scan the order again, and I can have that order in there already populated from that shipment. I'm going to scan the item that we're going to take, and I'm going to take the next pallet, 1069. 1070. Now I can look up those pallets here, but I'm going to go in consecutive order so we can fulfill this entire order by loading pallets onto a shipment. Right? So we have this shipment, and I'm actually doing this with a handheld. I'm moving pallets throughout the warehouse and bringing that over to my staging area to be loaded onto a shipment for a truckload. We have our Agility desktop application that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to bring the fulfillment manager up where we actually create the documents and create the delivery note for this order. So I didn't do the full order. I did a couple of pallets, but I want to show you the fulfillment manager, which we're going to go under sales here. And we're going to utilize the fulfillment manager. If you guys are familiar with WiSys and our fulfillment, this is the application that you use on a desktop to create shipments for fulfillment, right? For delivery, sales order delivery. And this application here runs right like by your shipping solution where you're packing. But we've packed this, we've loaded this already. So I'm just going to bring up that shipment number. I'm going to scan 245, and you'll see that I've actually loaded on here 2 pallets of items, right? So I know that I have 2 packages that are pallets. They're loaded on this shipment, and this is going to be an LTL truckload. So my LTL truckload is always available here to me. In fulfillment, you see different package info that we have here, weights, measures, lines to be packed. So they understand we have 648 more to pack here, which I could do from this product. So I could add a pallet right from here and complete this, or I could do it from the handheld as well. But I'm creating this shipment that I'm going to ship out LTL. So if I hit the LTL truckload here, it'll pull up my requirements for my bill of lading, my seal, my trailer, my weights and measures, and I can actually create the delivery note right from this application. So if I were to hit print here, it's actually going to do many things, a composite transaction within WiSys. It's going to take those pallets that I've already created, that I've finished production with. It's going to put them on the shipment. It's going to create my packing list if necessary, right? So it knows I've only done 2 pallets. I've shipped the quantities that they require. I have some back order. We can go back to that and ship a second shipment out. It's also going to print out my bill of lading for me if necessary. These documents can all be managed within WiSys Document Management. So any items that you need printed for your orders to relieve will be done as well. And I have actually printed out a bill of lading for you to see, so you can see that. In this case, you'll notice that shipment has left. Now we can bring that shipment back up here, 245, right? And the status will be set to shipped. So we have actually successfully shipped out 2 complete pallets of WiSys with single scans, loading that with the handheld device, creating that velocity, right? So we're obviously tracking all the serial and batch information, right? We can see that. We can also relate that back to SAP, where we take a look at that order, and we will see that partially this order is going to be delivered. So this is not closed by any means because there's back ordered items here, but I can actually see that we have created a delivery note for a partial delivery of those items. So we shipped out 2 pallets of 162 each. We've delivered that, and that delivery note is created. So what we're doing is we're really making it easy for you to group items. Now imagine if you did that with an entire container. I could actually load a container with pallets, cartons, inner packs, all those layers, creating UCC 128 labels, SSCC labels, and creating a single scan or a single container load of product with a single scan, and identify all that in WiSys. Let's go back to the WiSys Agility Explorer. And we're actually going to look at the menu. We're going to bring up that menu again. And we're going to go into our inventory, back to our inventory palette view here that we had. And let's just follow along in that palette view that we had. And we're going to take a look, refresh this, and we're going to see in real time that we shipped out those pallets. Let's make sure we hit refresh here. You'll see that the pallets that we just shipped out have a load date, they have a shipment date, there's the shipment number, and an S status for shipped. So we know those have been relieved. I can filter onto all my shipped products. So I did ship 2 pallets to that customer, 1 and 2 on this shipment. We can go refer to that shipment, 245 within WiSys, and we can track all the information associated with that shipment back to the original creation of the pallet. And there's the serial and batch information. So all that information stays with that, with the single scans there. So yes, so I just wanted to show you that portion as well. Really keying in on creating packages for faster work in the warehouse without multiple scans. We want to take that time to scan and to move inventory down. We want to reduce the time it takes you to move inventory, especially serialized and batch tracked items. So, and then we want to have that traceability to allow us to view that information at any given time, obviously following along in SAP in one system, right? So the information in SAP, we believe that information because it is being recorded. WiSys is recording that information in SAP as well. Let's close out of this real quick. Great, just got some memory running with GoToMeeting here. So, but we can obviously go into that delivery note again, and we take a look at that relationship map here. And we can see that delivery, and we can also look into the batch details of this delivery note, and we can trace that all the way back to the receipt of those goods. So having full traceability within one system, one location, batch number transaction detail report, you'll see that I have the batch information directly associated with that is the batch here, and I can click on the golden arrow and view the batch history of that batch detail. So getting all the information in one location, creating packages around that with WiSys to make the transaction faster, more efficient, and more accurate for you guys is really what we want to achieve. So let's take a look at the handheld device. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover today. Obviously, if you want to use the SAP Pick Manager, you can pick pallets or pick to pack pallets. We can pack cartons, so I'll show you some of that as well. On the distribution tab, we can take that packaging layer here as well, and we can pack cartons, we can unpack cartons, we can load cartons onto a pallet, but this is a level lower than the pallet management, right? So this is packing cartons. This is a package layer that we've created in WiSys as well that can go on to pallets. and I'm doing the same thing just at the carton level, not the pallet level. Under pallets as well, if I go to here, we can pack pallets, so we can build those pallets as we pack the order as well. So however your company does it, we can handle the process of using that packaging layer as well. So let's see if we have any questions. That's really what I want to go over, is the basics of pallet management, what it means to us, where we're different. You know, these are actually packages, not locations. Let's take some questions. Let's see if we have some questions for us. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so one of the questions is, can I specify a maximum number of cases per pallet or quantity or volume? So yes, that can actually be done with WiSys. The tool set can create limits. So if a standard pallet, in this case, holds 162, I could tell WiSys, as it pulls the information by that item, that I can only put 162 on a pallet. It can definitely do that. Perfect question. Yes, we can optimize pallets. Yes, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to create an optimum solution for our customers to be able to optimize, less scans, telling the worker without tribal knowledge what to do. 162 of these cases can go onto a pallet based on weights, measurements, the item master, and that. Great. All right. Do we have any other questions? I think I don't know if I have any other questions here. I think that's all the questions I have today. But really what I wanted you guys to get to do is get the understanding of how pallets operate, what uses we can use them for, from stocking to overstock to shipments to receiving product into pallets, obviously making your workflow faster, quicker, better. If you have questions, if you'd like to explore this deeper into your actual process workflow, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to review pallet management with you and fulfillment and create solutions that are good for you and your customers and help you guys become better in the warehouse. So if there are no other questions, I appreciate you coming today, and please feel free to email me. You will get a recording of this. Let me know how I can help, and have a great day. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.